Spider-Man, a new animated series. Not so new anymore, right? If you're watching this video, you probably enjoyed, or at least have heard of the 2003 Spider-Man series that aired on MTV almost 23 years ago now. It's always been my favourite Spider-Man series, and it's why I've tried to preserve it on YouTube as much as copyright will allow me to. But this video isn't about that. It's not about the past. This is about the future. So, a trailer has been making the rounds lately, and when I say that, I mean just look at the view count. That is a lot for TNAS. So, I felt, yeah, I need to comment on this at least once. So, it's a reveal teaser for a fan-made continuation of Spider-Man TNAS. I decided to give it a watch, and I watched their Q&A and all the videos on their channel, and I wanted to give my thoughts, because I was around years back when there was other like TNAS projects, like TNAS Continued, that were announced and hyped up. I even made a video on TNAS Continued at the time. It was like, what, 4 years ago now at least? Time flies, that is for sure. Obviously, the first thing to mention is none of this is final. It's a project that's still very much in production and figuring stuff out, so it doesn't have the level of polish that it will if it gets to its final stages. I will say, so far it does look solid, especially Spider-Man's model. I think really captures the spirit of the original. Like the webbing is reflective the way it was. The lenses are shockingly accurate. Like the proportions of the model, they're not quite as lanky, but I think that is for the best, and I think it's not gonna hurt the animation at all to have more mild proportions to it. The texture work is a lot cleaner and high definition now than it was 23 years ago, of course, but it does look so similar. It genuinely looks like a modern version of the original TNAS suit, which has always been one of my favourites. I always loved the vibrant colours, like the muscles on it, the lenses. It's a very, very good suit. A classic suit all around. The human models, like Peter, Harry and MJ, they could do with some work, but I think it's pretty clear the team intends to refine them. Like, this is a work in progress. I'm sure people have commented that they could do with some work. I have no concerns when it comes to that. I'm sure things will look even better as time goes on. Will this project succeed? It's the question that many will be thinking, regardless of how optimistic they are. And I would say, it's looking promising. The fact it's only meant to be a two-parter signals to me that this team isn't getting ahead of themselves, which a lot of fan projects tend to do, and it tends to be their downfall, being too ambitious with their vision. Both parts are going to be around 35 minutes each, which totals just a little over an hour, which means they're keeping it straightforward. They're just focusing on a satisfying continuation to the huge cliffhanger the original series left us with, and the priority is set on just being faithful to the characters, doing them justice, and I would say that's the right call for a short continuation. The original series left on quite a somber note, with Spider-Man being pretty reviled by the public, really, and mainly Harry, which is a shame, because at the start of the series, Harry was quite resentful towards Spider-Man, but despite how episodic TNAS was, with it didn't have an overall plot really, but despite that, we actually saw their relationship did evolve. Like with Law of the Jungle, and then when Sparks Fly, we saw them actually evolve as a pair, and Harry's kind of resentment started to melt away, and he thought, maybe he misjudged Spider-Man. And that's a shame, because it's one of the few genuine character arcs in the original series, and the ending just undid all of it, which is pretty sad. MJ, by contrast, is more disappointed than angry, which is a different thing to deal with. And it's complicated because we know she had a romantic history with Spider-Man, so those two are in a different place, like emotionally, mentally, dealing with the loss of Indy and, you know, Spider-Man's role in that. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how this continuation handles it. I think it's going to try and do it justice to the best it can. It shouldn't be beyond the scope of a project like this, because at the end of the day, it's characters and emotions. It doesn't require huge animation or fight scenes particularly. It's the strength's going to come from the writing. The project doesn't seem to be repeating the mistakes of like other fan projects, because I remember TNAS Continued was big a few years ago, but they had some production issues. They had their sights very high, despite being a small team with not much experience, and ultimately it crumbled. And that's just what happens to a lot of fan projects who have such an ambitious vision. So I think this project is the best iteration so far of our shared dream to see this series come back, and we all want the same thing. We all want, you know, a satisfying end to this show that we love, even if we have different ideas about how to do so. I'm happy to report there's numerous modelers and animators. It's not just a single person trying to juggle all of that, and that is promising, because the animation, the modelling is the spine of a project like this, really. Most of the heavy, intensive work, like the complexities, are going to come through the animation. So it's a good thing that we have a genuine team working on this. So hopefully the production shouldn't be too troubled, but do keep in mind it is a fan project. Don't set your hopes as high as you would for a major studio, because a major studio is more stable. They have a lot more money coming in, a lot more consistent money coming in compared to just a fan project. So let's be reasonable about it, while still being optimistic for what these guys are trying to create. When I was lucky enough to get a glimpse at one of the swinging animation tests, I was actually caught off guard at first, because it genuinely looked like the original show. Like, I had to do a double take. I was like, wait, this is a fan animation, what the hell? Like, it just captured the unique style of movement that TNAS had so well, and that has me pretty excited, because from the trailer as well, it looks like they have that nailed down. One thing you may ask is, does this project actually understand Spider-Man TNAS? Does it understand what made it such a good series? Does it understand where to take it? Does it know the heart of TNAS? And I would say, for sure, yes. I think my hopes are definitely the highest when it comes to the writing specifically. Valio, who has a huge role in this project as the writer, one of the directors, and 3D designer, is someone I've known for years. And even all that time ago, I could tell that he genuinely loved TNAS and understood it. And I still believe that after all this time. I think he has a genuine vision for this that will do justice to Spider-Man TNAS. And as someone who spent a lot of time watching Spider-Man TNAS and thinking about it, I think it says a lot that 1, the animation had me fooled, and 2, I have faith in the head writer, really, to carry on this series in a way that feels natural and is satisfying. For fan projects, like, the writing and the ideas is the part you usually have the most faith in, because it doesn't require a ton of resources. It just requires someone who's creative and passionate. And I would say that's true for this as well. Like, I have little to no concerns when it comes to the writing. From the voice acting I've heard in the teaser trailer mainly, I'm also pretty optimistic. Like, Peter Parker in the original series was played brilliantly by Neil Patrick Harris.
Is there something I did that I should know about? Stole your seat on the subway? Okay, now you're definitely not getting an apology.
Because he was able to balance like the meekness of Peter and the confidence of Spider-Man so well. Like the way he switched between the two. It was just such a layered performance and one of the best parts of that original series. So I would argue that getting Spider-Man's voice right in a project like this is one of the most important parts. And the good news is, based on the teaser, Peter genuinely sounds close to his original counterpart. He'll be voiced by Jackson Zappa, who was able to capture the somewhat deep yet soft voice of Peter.
I used to think responsibility meant showing up, being there when no one else would. But it's not that simple. It's what you do when showing up doesn't fix anything, when being there still isn't enough. So I created this version of myself. Someone who could do what I couldn't. Someone who didn't freeze during intense moments. That brave figure stood tall until I failed someone I cared about.
And I'm optimistic that he'll be able to capture a lot of what made the original Spider-Man voice performance great as well. Because a lot of it comes down to being able to do both at the same time. To show the two sides of Peter Parker, the mild-mannered student and the inspiring superhero. So I'm looking forward to see how he does as Spider-Man. One really cool thing to note is that the team has been in contact with Tim Eldred, and if you don't know who that is, he actually worked as a director and storyboarder on Spider-Man TNAS, the original. He directed 3 episodes, Heroes and Villains, Flash Memory. I can report that he likes what he's seen so far from the project, and he finds it promising, so I would take that as a good sign. So, what is actually going to be in this continuation? They have a whole Q&A about that on their channel, which is called Spider-Man, the new animated series. All the links in the description, by the way. But I will go over some of the main points. As mentioned before, it's going to be a 2-parter. Sins of Responsibility, Part 1 and Part 2. Interesting name, and of course Spider-Man is all about, the theme of responsibility. Peter feels responsible for Indy's death. I'd expect Daredevil to show up, which is pretty cool. The project has teased his appearance a few times on the channel, and TNAS has always been partial to the wider Marvel universe anyway.
I bet the X-Men get to go to parties.
There's only so much I can share, but I am lucky enough to be able to give you guys a small idea of what's in store. So, firstly, it's going to be a personal, more philosophical story for Peter Parker. And typically, those are the best ones, in my opinion, at least. Like, seeing how Peter Parker navigates his emotions has always been more captivating than the fight scenes. And it's part of why he has such broad appeal, that people can relate to his personal struggles, his mental struggles. The continuation is going to explore darker and heavier themes, so of course there's a lot of responsibility that comes with trying to tackle more mature subject matter like that. The original series is notorious for its darker themes, which it did to somewhat mixed results. I mean, The Party was a standout episode when it came to how it dealt with bullying.
Matt, it doesn't have to be like this. I know what it's like.
No! You don't!
Other episodes, like Head Over Heels, not so good.
I'm melting!
No, I'd wager that if someone is making a project because they love the original TNAS and the way it had a more mature take on Spider-Man, they probably understand the importance of handling those darker themes with care. So I look forward to seeing that. The villain is supposedly quite psychological and a much different take on an existing comic villain. Of course, the original series ended with the Gaines twins bringing down Spider-Man, whose powers were the ability to manipulate the mind. That final two-parter was half built on like false memories that they put into Peter's head, which made quite an interesting storyline because he had to unravel like the mind games that they had played on him. So doubling down on Peter having to face a foe that messes with his head is pretty fitting. But of course this time it's probably more through their words than mind control superpowers, which I think should make it even more engaging, as long as they make it different enough from the Gaines twins. The continuation is also inspired by Silent Hill 2 in the Todd McFarlane comics. The Silent Hill games are infamously like psychological and personal horror, trauma, fear, that sort of thing. I haven't played them, but like from what I've read about it, I can see the connection already between Silent Hill and the new villain, and of course the Gaines twins, which of course made a pretty big impact at the end of the original series. And finally, this project is meant to give you a proper conclusion that ties up all loose ends, even if the team doesn't make anything else. And that is what gives me faith in the story they're trying to tell, because they just focus on genuinely being true to the original TNAS and giving people a more satisfying ending, instead of going all in on a huge project and trying to do a full season full of new stories that will just crumble under the weight of its own ambition. I think that's about all I have to say for now. Make sure to check out and support this awesome project via the links below. A fan project like this lives through, well, the fans. So if you truly feel like this team can deliver something amazing, and I think there is a solid chance of that, then chip in however you can, but at the very least give them a follow on their social media and subscribe to their channel for continued updates. Thank you for watching. It's been such a long time since I made a video of any sort. I don't think I really have the voice for videos like this, so sorry if I was a little slow while talking. I had so many ideas for videos over the years, but I've never had the motivation for it, and I just focused on other stuff. But I felt it would be cool to cover this, because it is a huge development in the TNAS community. If that still exists, I don't know. And I just wanted to go over, should you get your hopes up? Should you be excited for it? And I'd say, be hopeful. Because I think there's a good chance this will deliver. I'll definitely be anticipating further developments with it, and I'd like to cover more in the future as well.